the proof. What is the difference in proof doing for us besides just being more alcoholic, but it has an impact on the product and the taste profile, right?
Yeah.
And so let's talk about that.
The higher the proof, the more pure it is, and the more taste that you're getting, from your grains.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, folks. We got a bug flying around.
Yeah, he's a pesky one too.
It likes Chris's face.
But yeah. So that's really important as well.
Okay, so Chris, what I want to toss at you now, I want to throw a hypothetical situation. We basically got 2 segments left here in the show. This one's a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to throw a hypothetical situation your way that will hopefully kind of summarize everything that we just went over, but in kind of a fun way. And then, of course, you have the samples. So let's first start with this hypothetical. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up. I'm going to hand you the keys to a brand new state-of-the-art distillery facility. So you are now the owner of a brand new distillery. You have everything you need. Well, let's say you have all the money you need so you can procure exactly what you want. You have all your government permits and everything like that. You're ready to get started. Tell us. But the stipulation is this. The stipulation is that you only get to make one product forever. Okay, so you're getting everything for free. It's all funded and paid for, ready to go, but you only get to make one product. So with that said, whatever you decide to make, that's what you always have to make. So what do you think is kind of like the ideal makeup that you would probably go with, and then why? So let's kind of go through like what your mash bill would be, what your percentages are, and why, and then we kind of get an understanding of what these things are doing, what kind of product you want. So let's fire that at you.
So I would be basically just creating one-time whiskey recipe, something I would have to make all the time. Right?
All the time. So basically, I'm saying, what do you think? This is my
would this be like a
way of saying what is your favorite? What do you think your favorite recipe would be? As if you got to make something.
Would this be the proprietary Broben recipe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that we would make. Broben was the name we were going to call a distillery someday. Yes.
So I was thinking, if I could make one recipe all the time, that would be probably a 60% corn.
Okay.
And again, this would be the mash bill, not the particular recipe, but we'll say 60% corn, 20% rye. I would do 10% wheat.
Okay.
And I would do 10% malted barley.
Okay. I like the fact you got some wheat in there. I like so that let's bounce that up. But let's go through it. So the corn. Is there any decisions to make with the corn? We talked about the milled, the rolled, the whole thing. So what are you doing with the corn? What decisions?
Probably
you making there?
a milled corn, cracked.
Okay.
Milled corn.
And remind us again why. What is that doing for us?
Just ease of operation, basically.
Okay.
The corn is already cracked, and it'll be quicker to get the sugars out of that corn rather than using the whole kernel.
And now the wheat, since we are going to involve some wheat, is there any really big decisions to make with that, or really just where you can get the best local wheat for the best price?
Yeah, I would first look into using local wheat.
Okay.
There's different types of wheat as well.
And now we do have some rye in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 10% of your bill.
20%.
It's 20%.
Yeah, 20%.
Oh, 10% wheat, 10% barley.
Right.
All right, so we have 20%. Okay, good. So 20% rye, good. The 10%, that's need a little bit more than that.
Oh,
a little bit more than 10%. Okay, so we got 20% rye. What are you doing with the rye and why?
The rye, I would use a cracked rye as well.
Okay.
Not a rolled
rye,
a flaked rye.
And what does that do for us again? So the cracked rye?
The cracked rye is going to give us that spicier flavor. It's going to add some definite spice
we like the
to the end result, and it's something that's certainly noticeable on the palate.
And then finally the barley. I'm guessing a malted barley, but what are you doing with the barley and why?
The barley is going to be a standard malted barley. Could be a 2-row or a standard pale ale type of malted barley that a lot of brewers will use as well.
Okay. And then the few remaining big decisions. Again, there's a lot of decisions, but the next probably big one, on the grain or off the grain as far as the distillation goes.
I would certainly give it a go the first time doing that process on the grain.
Okay, and why?
I like what distilling on the grain lends to the product. I like more of that bready, grainy flavor to it, and I think that transfers to the barrel as well. Once you carry that finished distillate over, and then you filter it and put it in a barrel, I think it does wonders for the end product.
That's true. I kind of, I don't know enough about it, but I can see why that would be the case, and especially if you're not the guy that has to get inside the still afterwards and scrub everything out, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's not as hard of a choice to make,
right?
And then finally, let's talk about proof. Do you have an idea of like where you think you would throw it proof-wise into the barrel and what you want it to be at the end?
I would say you're shooting. You're always shooting for 140 to 160. Ending proof. But before it goes into the barrel, you probably don't want to be over 125, 120. The higher the alcohol content, the more chance you have of bringing ethers out.
So if it goes into the barrel too high, it can bring other things other than just the caramelized goodness out of it.
Right,
you're saying.
exactly.
Interesting. Okay. And so, Chris, what I want to do now is you have some samples here.
I do.
We're going to try some different samples, and we're going to kind of do this. This is going to be we're going to do this lightning round style. So lightning round style.
All right.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to hand you a glass. You're going to just pour you're going to put just a nip in there. Okay. And as you're pouring it, you're going to talk into the mic. So make sure to, the best you can, do this while you're still talking close to the microphone for the listeners. Tell us about what you're putting in the glass, and then while I'm taking a sip, you can get the next one ready.
All right, we're going to start with a fruit-based distillate first.
Okay. So what does that mean?
So this mash was created from fruit.
Okay.
In particular, grapes.
Okay.
So basically,
we got a cognac here, pretty much.
It could be
unbarreled cognac.
If you put this in a barrel,
yeah,
you would end up with a cognac.
Okay. You're gonna tell us what kind of fruit?
Grapes.
Oh, that's right. You said grapes. That's right.
White grapes and a touch of Granny Smith apples.
Oh, geez.
In there as well. So
Okay.
we're going to start with this, and this is probably sitting at about 120 proof.
Okay. That's good. All right. So I'm gonna kind of nose and taste this real quick, and you can get the next one ready, and then you can tell. So here's the next glass. So all right. So let's see here. Right off the bat. The nose is, on the finish of the nose, on the finish of the aroma, the apple, like that, the fruit. You notice the fruit right up front, of course. But there's a lot going on. Is there any grain at all, or is it all fruit? No, it's all fruit.
It's all finished wine in Granny Smith apples.
It's very on the nose. It definitely has a full body of fruit. It's not like a thin, like, oh, you got to really, look for this faint. It's there. It's clearly there. But then as you kind of like on that finish, even just on the nose, you can really distinct what types of fruits there are. So let's go ahead and take a quick taste. Now, it's interesting. You would think the first comment would be, oh, this is really sweet. But, of course, a lot of times we just talked about sweetness can come out of the barrel a lot of times, the wood. The wood adds a lot of sweetness. So, of course, this is fruit, and there is an element of sweet, but I'm not going to just come out and say, like, oh, this is sweet just because it's fruit. It's hard to describe. It's so unique.
Yeah, it's very, very unique, and that's basically there's similarities of your white cognacs. If you've ever been to the store lately, they're selling some white unaged cognacs.
Yeah, this is good. This would actually be a really good sipping drink all by itself. Like, this would be fantastic to market and sell. But it's hard for me to. It is. I usually love being descriptive with notes and taste, flavor, and things like that. I'm having a tough time here on the finish, both on the aroma and on the drinking it, the taste, the finish. It's clearly fruit, but up front there's so much. It is like it, even on the nose and when it hits the tongue, it's pretty bold. There's a lot of flavor, so it's hard to just like fine tune that flavor into like one descriptive sentence. But on the finishes on both ends, it's that nice relaxing.
Yeah,
fruit.
Other than the actual apple and wine and apple flavors in there. 90% of it being grape based. You still get other flavors in there, which is a little bit of vanilla and citrus notes as well.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of vanilla. That's how I would best describe it. If you took like something that you expect to be just really fruity and actually like squeezed in some just like vanilla extract, that actually I think would be the best way to describe what is kind of like, I don't want to say overwhelming the taste, but a significant part of that. So all right.
This the next one again fruit based. And this is 100% apple based.
Okay.
So this would be fermented, unpasteurized apple cider.
Okay, gotcha.
Half of the batch being spiced apple cider.
Okay.
The other half being standard regular apple cider.
Okay. So previously we had grape and apple. Now we got all apple.
Yeah,
here.
the first one was 90% grape with 10% Granny Smith.
Okay, so
this is be considered an Applejack.
Mm-hmm.
Once you threw it in the barrel.
Well, I don't know what you mean. Oh, okay, an Applejack. But first thing I know is on the nose. It reminds me. Wasn't the cereal Applejacks the cereal? Like right on the nose. It's almost like I just poured myself a big bowl of Applejacks.
And that's what they,
And you said it was spiced apple was part of it. I think that's probably what's coming out and noticing that nice smell
cinnamon.
of that spiced apple. Yeah. All right, smells delicious. That one is a lot easier to describe the smell. So it must have been that white grape must have added some of that vanilla in the last one. Mm. So I can see the big difference between what the white grape brought to this. It's similar, but it is a different drink. If I was going to sit here and just drink them both neat, I'm going to get a much different experience out of the one with the grapes than I am.
The white, you talking about the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's a complexity there.
Yeah.
This one, it's all apple and spice. Really.
This one's a little bit dangerous because this one you could just
this one's
sitting away.
This one's sitting at about 140 proof.
Oh my gosh, yeah, this would be dangerous because someone could sit there and drink it at the same pace that they're drinking like a what's one of those apple beers? There's Red's apple, but there's also the Angry Orchard or something. I can see someone drinking this just like they're drinking an Angry Orchard.
Oh yeah. So what are we pouring now?
I don't know. Whatever you have next here, number 3.
Okay, this is number 3. Then we're gonna start into the grain.
There we go.
Based distillates. So we'll start with the most mild out of all 3. This is going to be a standard whiskey base.
Okay.
With a little touch of black pepper thrown in there.
Okay.
So this is
you mean
corn,
there's actual black pepper?
Actual black pepper in the ferment.
Oh, cool.
So it would be corn, rye, malt, and black pepper.
Okay. Interesting. Never heard of that before. That's good. It's plenty. All right, we're going to nose this
That's
now.
sitting at about 110 proof.
Oh, wow. Is that different? Wow. That's different. I don't know if that's that black pepper. There's something there's something so unique here that I've never smelled before in a whiskey. It's got to be that black pepper, I would think.
Yeah. And
it gives it like a licorice kind of a smell. You expect that licorice, but it's almost like a black licorice or something. And I think it's that pepper, the way the pepper blends in there. Boy, is that different.
And the yeast, the yeast is contributing to that flavor as well. I tend to
holy moly, that tastes
I tend to leave more yeast.
I was going to say this is bready.
Yeah, it's very bready. I tend to leave a little bit more yeast in the final mash before it goes into the distillation.
And you mentioned before about how that gives you more bready and damn your, I mean, that's what I taste on this, like a breadier, heartier whiskey. Boy, is that different. Very different. Very unique. Kind of has, but no wheat in that, right?
No wheat. I did use.
It's almost is it a softer rye or something, or is it really
I used a rolled corn and a malted rye instead of a regular rye.
Okay, so would that have a little bit of a difference?
Yeah, that's
going to be as spicy of a rye.
Not as spicy. It's going to be softer, smoother.
See, guys, I know what I'm talking about here. I mean, I don't know how to make the stuff, but I know how to smell